This little boy passed away, unfortunately. His hand twitched.
Help! Somebody help!
I was terrified.
I had an aunt who was put into psychiatric hospital. Things weren't like they should be.
I had both knees replaced. It's not for the faint of heart. I didn't realize how vulnerable it was going to make me.
I am telling myself, you're losing it.
That's when I saw the first glimpse of a shadow.
They were upset that I was there.
I just felt like I wasn't alone. I felt like there was somebody watching me. I didn't know what I was gonna find.
Just leave me alone!
This was not my imagination.
I didn't know why or what was following me.
This was a ghost.
It's 2010 in Denver, Colorado. In one of the city's hospitals, nursing assistant Amber Mackey begins her evening shift.
I've worked on the pediatric ICU unit. I would do everything from setting up rooms to helping run codes where you're getting supplies for everything, changing linens, answering call lights, helping support the families. Working on a pediatric ICU unit is probably one of the most difficult, but yet the most rewarding units you could ever work on. We see a lot of death, and that is the sad part about it. We see a lot of horrific trauma and accidents.
Amber thought that this night in the pediatric ward was going to be just like any other, but she was dead wrong.
I definitely just had like a heavy kind of feeling. Something just didn't feel right.
Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. I need you to set up room 25.
Sure, no problem.
Charge nursing. We have a trauma coming in. Some of these rooms, you know that if a patient goes in there and they're really critical, they're probably not gonna make it out. Room 25 is one of them. I see the gurney go through that corridor towards the room. There's blood dripping down onto the floor at that time.
Who's the patient?
12-year-old boy. He's been mauled by a dog.
The kid was playing in the backyard, and the dog busted through the fence and just attacked his face and his body.
Paging Dr. Stainsby to emergency. I repeat, Dr. Nana Stainsby.
Once I saw him with the extent of damage and the amount of blood coming from him, I didn't know if it was gonna make it. It was pretty emotional and scary.
Despite best efforts, the little boy cannot be saved. Amber is tasked with creating a memento for the family.
We normally have a child life specialist that comes in and they'll create little memories for the family, like handprints or a footprint. And because it was the middle of the night, at this point, they were like, nope, like, we don't have anybody, can you make it? His hand twitched.
Help! Somebody help!
And I was terrified.
His hand twitched. He's not dead.
No pulse. He's gone.
Are you sure?
Maybe you're just imagining things. Come on, let's get these molds finished.
I was just waiting for something to happen again, waiting for the hand to twitch, waiting for the little boy to open his eyes.
I'll put these away for the parents. We need some more cleaning supplies and linen. Would you mind getting them?
Sure.
I had to go and get linen. We like to change the bed just so the family could see him cleaned up all the way before they left for the night. I had to go to our overflow unit because that's always stocked. I always have felt nervous going in there just because it's so quiet. It's like an eerie quiet. Just the emergency lights are on because we don't keep the lights on when a unit that's not being used. It's just very weird. It's just very scary feeling altogether just to go over there, even if nothing is going on. It just gives you the, oh, I don't know if I really want to be here. I see this little kid out of the corner of my eye, and I turned and looked, and there was nothing there.
Hello? Are you lost?
Where did this kid go? What am I gonna find? Am I gonna find something behind this curtain?
What the?
And there was nothing there. At that point, I was just terrified. As I am leaving, I am telling myself, you're losing it. Could that be that little boy from that room? I went down to the storage room just to get the supplies so I could get back to our unit. I start hearing something that sounded like a phone. Like, what if there's somebody in here? What if somebody was laying on the floor? And I think of the worst. I didn't know what I was gonna find. It was just the phone sitting on the couch. It was going off, but it was still hung up, and I didn't know how this was possible.
Hello? Hello?
And it still was going off.
Hello?
I just felt like I wasn't alone. I felt like there was somebody watching me. I didn't know what to do, so I just unplugged it from the wall and it went off, and I'm like, okay, this has to be defective. So I just beeline it straight towards the storage room. And at this point, I am terrified, just trying to put my code in as fast as I can to get out of there.
Oh my God.
I could hear a laugh. That I was like, I gotta get out of here. I slowly turned my head. There was a ball that was in the middle of the hallway that wasn't there before. I just wanted to scream and cry because I didn't know why or what was following me. I just had my eyes on the exit only and just straight lined straight out of that hallway into the main unit.
Are you okay?
I was shaking and I said, you don't understand. Like, I just explained the whole story to her of what had happened. And so she was like, I'll go with you. Like, I think you probably are just seeing things. And I definitely held on to her the whole time we went back over into that unit. And I kind of stood behind her and was like, you're gonna see this ball sitting in the hallway.
I don't see any scary ball.
It was right there. It was right there. I swear.
She thought I was nuts, and she kind of was like joking about it, like, there's nothing here. What are you talking about? You're losing it.
Come on, let's get this stuff back. Sounds like you could use a break.
I am just exhausted. 6 o'clock can't come fast enough to do change of shift so that I could go home and go to sleep.
I could put these away if you need to go get some air.
It's fine, really.
All of a sudden, a call light went off, and it happened to be the room that that little boy was in.
I wonder if his parents went back in there.
There was nobody in there. This nurse was just like, it had to have been just a fluke or a short in the cord. We'll just get a new call light for it. But I knew that that wasn't a fluke. I knew that it was not just a short in the cord. I, at this point, is getting that feeling that this is the little boy trying to just reach out.
I think the spirit might have wanted acknowledgement from Amber because he died in such a tragic, painful way. You know, he might be in so much pain that that's all he sees. He can't see anything outside of that. So he needs a human counterpart, a human guide that could release him.
The rest of the night, I went in, did vitals. I made my rounds to each room, make sure everything was stocked up. They took him down to the morgue. And I thought in my head, kind of whispered that, hey, I know it's you and it's okay. It's okay that you're here and that you're safe now. This has changed me a lot. I think about it probably on a daily basis. And with that, I always wonder, could I help out? Is there a way that I could help these spirits cross over or let them know that it's okay? When I have a patient that is getting ready to go, I will let them know, it's okay. We will be back. You can go, you're safe. You know, just try to give them comfort. I find that talking to them beforehand helps them go. And then once they do, I acknowledge them as if they were still there. I have a small boy at home. I don't ever want spirits to come home with me, attach themselves to me. I just would like them to stay where they're at so that I can go home and be at peace and be able to go home and be a mom.
It's 1984. Gord McLean is on his way to visit a relative.
My childhood was your typical, normal, happy, healthy childhood. Played baseball, sports, all the usual fun stuff. Had no problem finding friends or adjusting with people.
But there is something sad in Gord's young life.
Don't be nervous, sweetie. And Max is just sick right now.
I had an aunt who suffered from mental health issues. She was put into the psychiatric hospital several times throughout her life. And there was one time that I can vividly remember that we went up to visit her.
Gordy, just be a good boy for me and Mom, okay? We have an important meeting with the doctor.
I'd only kind of overheard the stories of the adults talking about what was going on there, so I didn't really know what to expect. The psychiatric hospital smelled like an industrial cleaner. Like it just had this very powerful disinfectant smell. It was very industrial and barren. There was no artwork, there was no color, it was all drab.
Mr. McLean?
Yep.
This is a very high security facility. I'm going to ask you to follow me. You're not to veer off. You're to stay right behind me.
We would be taken to meet my aunt in the heart of the building, which was down a whole series of different corridors. There'd be a security door. We'd all have to get escorted through that door. The nurse, she'd make sure that door was closed. So we would go down one hallway, and she would do the next thing at the next door. We probably did that 4 or 5 times. As a kid getting into this building, getting deeper and deeper, the hairs on the back of my neck are starting to stand up a little bit straighter. And it almost feels like there's eyes on me. I didn't know what was going on around me. I just knew something was going on.
There are no children allowed beyond this point. Will you take a seat on the couch, young man? And you two follow me.
They left me out in the hall. They knew it was safe and secure because we had just gone through all these security door locks. But I had that feeling that things weren't like they should be. I knew my parents were in the room next door. There was a meeting room where there was my mom, my dad, the nurse, a doctor. And still there was a feeling that something was there. I didn't know what or who it may have been. But there was something in that hallway with me. I just didn't know what was going on. I tried to put it out of my mind as best as I could. I'd brought a couple small toy cars with me. I got down on the floor and started playing with the cars. I would kind of roll the car down 3 or 4 feet before it would veer off. I'd run, pick it up, come back. I'd push the cars maybe 2 or 3 times down the hall and gone and collected them up. When I heard a sound, it sounded like clapping. It wasn't like your typical applause, but it was more like somebody just super excited about something fun happening. I stood up, looked around. It sounded like it was at the end of the hallway. Couldn't see anything. There was nobody there. I kept trying to find it. The hairs on the back of my neck were standing up. And there was nobody around that could have made that sound. The dread really started to rise up in me. I had that feeling that I wanted to run, but there was nowhere I could run to.
Kids like Gord are often more receptive to paranormal activity. Their minds just aren't as busy as we are as adults. Their brain waves tend to be a lot different than adults, and often if you've got a hotspot of paranormal activity, kids will be the ones to pick up on it, whether it be frightening or not.
I had to kind of just gather my thoughts, tried to convince myself that maybe I was just hearing it, that it wasn't actually there. But then this blast of cold air came from behind me and pushed the car down, not the 4 feet, not 5 feet, but pushed it down the entire length of the hallway. I heard the clapping again. It was very excited, like uncontrollable joy. It was almost like somebody or something wanted to play. I walked slowly down the hallway. This sense of terror and dread just came over me. This dread just kept increasing the closer I got to the car. The car had flipped over onto its roof. The car just started spinning, and there's no way that it could have been doing that. It was just spinning around and around and around, almost as if somebody had taken their finger and flicked the front of the car. It wasn't explainable. It just drained the blood from my body. I just felt ice cold. I had this pit in the bottom of my stomach and just this fear that I haven't felt before. I quickly reached down, grabbed the car, ran as fast as I could back down the hallway. I've curled up into a little tiny ball. My heart is pounding, I'm out of breath, and I just want to go home. I just want to go to someplace safe. That's when I saw the first glimpse of a shadow. It just didn't make sense why a shadow would be where it was. It was just there watching me, almost like it wanted me to keep playing with the cars. I just froze. I knew my parents were in the room next door, but I couldn't get to them. I tried to scream, but it was as if there was no air in my lungs. It was a face that I will never forget. And there was just this big smile on his face, almost like a crazy, happy smile. The arms and the body were in a straitjacket. It was moving towards me. This was not my imagination. This was a ghost. It was the most terrifying thing that I've ever experienced. My parents came out of the room. I instantly jumped up and I ran over to my mother and gave her a huge hug.
What's the matter, sweetie?
I could see the shadowy figure still down at the end of the hall.
What is it?
You see anything at the end of the hallway?
My mom said she didn't see anything.
No.
Gord, we're here now.
What is it?
I was playing with my cars, and then it started going by itself. And
I began to tell what had happened to my mom and dad.
And then I saw a man in a straitjacket.
They didn't believe me.
coming at me.
They thought it must have just been in my imagination.
All right, we're ready for you now. Come on in.
But I know what I saw that day.
Psychiatric hospitals are often hotspots for the paranormal, often because emotions are just raging. You've got the ups, you've got the downs, you've got the highs, you've got the lows, and wherever there's emotional activity, you get paranormal activity as well. And I think what was going on in this particular case was that we had an entity that was trying to relate to Gord on a very childlike level. And this can be quite common when it comes to children and paranormal experiences.
6 years later, Gordon McLean is looking through a history book in his high school hallway.
As the years went on, I kind of didn't really forget about what happened, but I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't until grade 9 history, where we were studying the First World War, that I was instantly transported right back into that hallway, curled up, watching that figure at the end of the hall. It was a picture of a soldier from the First World War, from the Battle of Passchendaele, where the caption underneath was "Unidentified soldier suffering from shell shock." And he had the same eyes and that same smile that I saw. The face was the same. The psychiatric hospital did take in a lot of World War I veterans that did suffer from what we'd now call PTSD. I think that maybe the ghost was a soldier from the First World War that unfortunately got put into the hospital. I haven't really told this story to too many people. It's not a story that I'm telling for adventure or fame or anything like that. It's something that happened, and I'm telling it just because it's a story that needs to get told. This incident has made me realize that we're not alone, and there are things that we can't explain. This isn't just my imagination running wild. There were too many things that I saw or I heard, from the clapping to seeing the car spinning on the hood. If it was one thing, maybe even I could write it off to just being my imagination, but when you stack all the evidence together, it adds up to something that doesn't make sense, something that shouldn't be, but was. I am still very skeptical of some stories, and some things can be explained away, but this is one story that I can't explain. So, do I think that ghosts exist? Yes, they do.
Just leave me alone!
It's 2016. Author Kitty Janis is about to undergo a risky operation.
I had to go in for what is a very difficult surgery. I had both knees replaced at the same time.
Nurse, let's get started. Don't worry, it's going to be fine.
It was a terrifying surgery. Essentially, they cut your legs off and reattach them. They slice your leg open, they remove the knee, then they sew you back up. It's not for the faint of heart.
Hi there. How are you feeling?
Tired, really tired.
I promise I will be out of your hair soon, okay?
I was excited to be out of surgery, look down and see I still had both legs on. They put ice packs on your knees, which are run through hoses that go into coolers, so it's circulating ice water around your knees. I can't move, I can't walk. I'm in a very vulnerable state, just lying in this bed, looking at my legs. I didn't realize mentally how vulnerable it was going to make me.
Is it there? She looks like Aunt Ellie. But when Mark's in court.
I heard voices in the room with me. I couldn't tell what they were saying. Then I see these two girls. At first I thought they were real humans, some visitors who had been in the room. Then I noticed I could see through them. I'm looking directly at them and they're looking back at me.
Rest up. The night nurse will be here shortly to check up on you.
The nurse didn't see them. Every time I get that visual of those two girls, I still get the chills every time I think of those two girls.
What do you want from me?
I'm looking at their faces. They look really, really angry. They are not just looking at me, they are glaring at me. As I'm looking at these girls, I'm trying to figure out why they would be so upset of my presence. They weren't upset of the nurse's presence. They were upset that I was there. And I can only imagine that they were upset by the fact that I saw them. Never before had I had the urge to run, and never before had I had the inability to move. I felt so trapped within my mind and in my body as I lay there in the bed, and it was terrifying. These two girls turned to each other and spoke. I heard no voices coming from their lips. And I knew at that point they were talking about me. And I could only imagine what they were thinking about doing to me. And to this day, I'm just getting the chills again because it was the creepiest thing that I've ever seen.
Leave me alone! Just leave me alone!
They just completely vanished. I was feeling so vulnerable after the surgery, and to think of it now, my heart still races.
Kitty talks about two aggressive entities that she sees that appear to her as sisters, but she inherently knows that something's not right with them, that this is an evil force or something that's negative. This is likely a negative entity that was feeling territorial over its base. Kitty wouldn't leave, which was ultimately going to cause a problem.
Hi, Kitty. Is there if I come in?
I had to get some answers, so I waited until the night nurse came in.
Yes, please do. I have a strange question to ask.
Sure. How can I help?
Has anyone ever complained about this room?
I did not tell him anything I had seen or encountered.
Well, we get patients complaining about ghost children.
He says, we always get patients who say there's children in that room, standing, staring at them.
Like little girls?
Yeah, something like that.
There was no way I was going to get any sleep between staring at that corner, staring at the door, wondering what might be coming in. As the night progressed, I didn't see the girls anymore. But I'm just staring at that empty corner where those two girls had been. Feeling the walls close in on me. I wanted to get out so bad.
Are you all right? You don't look like you've slept a wink.
I need to get out of this room.
Well, I have good news. I'm here to remove you from the recovery wing and into your new room.
I was so relieved to get out of that room. I thought, finally, I'm gonna go to a place where I can heal and I can get some rest, because I hadn't slept a wink.
Dr. Hannigan, call on line 1. Dr. Hannigan.
I thought at that point I was finally gonna get some peace. I wasn't gonna get any peace, because that's when I started hearing the voices. These voices were in the room. I think I was able to distinguish at least 10 different voices. And as I'm just laying there listening to these voices going back and forth, the lights start flickering. But now I see the shadows. These are shadow figures within the room. My heart's racing right now.
I call forth the angels.
And in my own exhaustion, I called forth the universe, I called forth angels.
Please help these tortured souls.
I need this to stop now. I need you guys to just go home.
Please help them just get home. Please guide them to the light.
And they finally just stopped. I stopped hearing the voices and I stopped seeing the shadow figures.
She very clearly and very definitively told the spirit she'd had enough. And that act of dominance, that assertion, was enough to get the entity to back off. So in this case, she was really fortunate. If it had have been left, however, and this had have continued, then she likely would have ended up injured.
Dr. Hannigan, please call extension.
Kitty spends 5 more days in the hospital with no further paranormal experiences.
Even to this day, when I retell this story, I remember those 2 girls and I remember those shadow figures. Seeing those 2 evil little girls standing in that corner glaring at me, to realize that there is still evil on that other side of the veil, that they do have the power to harm. And you have to have really strong personal boundaries dealing with the paranormal.
I didn't, at that point, know if I was alive or dead. This was just the start of a very harrowing experience.
I had this horrible sense of somebody following me.
All of a sudden, I could hear a faint baby cry. It was like being in a nightmare, but I was fully awake.
He said that something was coming for me.
If you had asked me before ghosts don't exist, what are you talking about?
Whatever it was wanted me to be afraid.
I didn't want to believe that I had seen a ghost.
But this was a life-changing experience for me.
In one of the city's largest hospitals, nursing assistant Marlon Brandon is starting his shift.
I work on the neurology intensive care unit. These are people that are in critical care for neurological reasons. It could be because they had a stroke, a traumatic brain injury, the neurological disorders that cause people to become paralyzed. These were very, very critical care patients. I get the most satisfaction from knowing that someone is better off after they've encountered me than they were before. Maybe they were hungry and they're not hungry anymore. Maybe they were cold and I gave them a blanket. So it's like immediate gratification, and I enjoy it so much.
One day, Marlon has an encounter with a patient that will change his life.
What's going on?
You're okay.
What are you doing?
You're in the hospital.
No, I can't.
Relax. We're gonna take care of you,
I
okay?
can't be
You
here.
gotta lie down.
They were wheeling a young African-American man in on a stretcher. It was a really big kid, like maybe a football player type. He looked confused. I could really feel his restlessness and his agitation.
Relax. You gotta lie down.
No, I
You gotta lie
can't.
down. You gotta lay down.
I can't be here right now. I can't.
Mind if I talk to you for a
Get out
second?
of here right now.
Hey, brother, calm down. I'm with you, all right?
Because he was so young and because he was so afraid, I said, why don't I just do a one-to-one with him? Maybe a familiar face, somebody that kind of looks like him, kind of speaks in his own jargon, could calm him down.
You're in the hospital. We're gonna take good care of you. Everything's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, all right?
Marlon finds some time to talk to the young man.
Honestly, I'm fine, man.
Do you remember what happened?
No. I mean, last thing I do remember, I was shooting this music video.
He collapsed on the set of a music video that he was directing and choreographing.
It was about police brutality. It's a real important issue, man. There's a lot of brothers dying every day.
They brought him to the ER and they determined that whatever his issue was neurological.
If you guys don't let me go out and finish that, then it's like I'm leaving all those brothers hanging. It's like their deaths, they didn't mean anything.
He said, I can't be admitted to the hospital right now. I'm in the process, I have to make this video.
It's serious, right? But your health's more serious.
We got to know each other. We bonded in a way that I believe was very beneficial for him.
All right, boss, see you around, eh?
All right.
I got to feel his energy.
Hey, I'll be back in a couple hours, all right?
All right.
We'll talk some more, okay?
Cool.
He had a very, very good energy. I had no idea what was coming.
Soon after James arrives, Marlon learns something terrible about his condition.
It's not looking good.
James, we was assessed, and he had a very, very rare neurological disorder, and it was something they'd never seen in anybody that young.
I'm sorry, Marlon.
He could pass away at any moment. I was very upset. He was so young. He had his whole life ahead of him. An hour and a half into my shift, I had to go from one building to the other. I had this horrible sense of somebody following me. Look back, I didn't see anybody. But the energy, it was like really, really scary.
Marlon suddenly gets the feeling that he should check on James.
I saw James standing outside of his room.
What's going on?
I'm good.
Come on. I know when something's up.
I'd never seen him scared, but he looked terrified.
It feels weird in there.
There was a feeling of panic, of dread.
Yeah, something doesn't feel right.
What are you talking about?
And I looked behind him, and the best way to describe it was like a hooded figure. And my heart was almost palpitating. Whoa. I was absolutely terrified. The same sense of fear that I felt, James also felt, and he ran from it. The thing went up into the ceiling and disappeared. In James's room, if you look out the window, it was the roof of another building. If you had asked me before, I'd say, what are you talking about? Ghosts don't exist. What the? It was snowing, and I could see human bare footprints in the snow on the roof. Even if there was some explanation for someone else being out there, they wouldn't have been out in that deep snow in their bare foot. Even if someone said to me, oh, they were doing maintenance on the roof. All right, well, maintenance workers in the snow would have had boots on. There was no possible logical explanation for why I would see footprints. If you had asked me before this incident, I would have absolutely told you, it's not true. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. It's all superstition. Ghosts don't exist. What are you talking about? But this was a life-changing experience for me.
A few days later, on Marlon's next shift, he's anxious to check on James.
I'd gone away, and when I came back to work, I went in, you know, where's my boy? The bed was all made up, and all of the monitors were disconnected, and I just remember, I'm sorry. I just remember this feeling of sadness because it's, you taking care of somebody every day, and then you go and look, and there's an empty bed there, and he'd passed away. He was like this full of life, energetic person that was working for this noble cause. He wanted to make this video to bring attention to police brutality. And it was just so sad to me that, you know, he passed away before he could complete it.
A week later, things are only getting stranger for Marlon.
A man was admitted to neurology intensive care unit with Guillain-Barré syndrome.
My name is Marlon. I'm here to help you out. Manny, how you doing?
He was paralyzed from the neck down. There was no movement, no sensation in his arms, legs, or anything below his shoulder area.
Manny, you okay?
It is absolutely medically and physically impossible for him to be moving. But what really made the hair on the back of my neck stand up was the fact that his feet were moving in a very, very specific rhythmic structure.
I don't want to be in any damn music video.
I said, what the you talking about?
I saw him. He was here. He was here in this room.
He said there was a young African-American man. He described him to a T. I knew it was James.
Tell him to leave me alone and go away.
I don't know what the hell's going on. James was haunting this unit.
I think if this person would have been able to finish his music video, he would have been set at peace. So much of his energy and his heart and soul was invested in this project. It's not easy to walk away from something we are so invested in.
Later that month, a terrible blizzard disrupts the hospital.
We had what's called a code white, when the snow is so bad that nobody can leave the hospital because we need you here, because nobody else might be able to get to work. They were converting family waiting areas into makeshift places for the nurses to sleep. There wasn't any room there for me, so I went back into the unit. I remember taking a large recliner. About 20 minutes might have passed. I was sort of like in a twilight sleep. I could feel this sense of agitation again, like I had something to do. I was so terrified I was frozen. I knew this was the kid that had died. I saw James standing in front of me. I know it was James, so I followed him. He went into the nurses' lounge, into the waiting area where the nurses were asleep. I couldn't believe it. They were dancing. I was terrified at that moment, beyond any fear that I'd ever experienced in my life. They had like this very choreographed movement, and everybody was doing it at the same time. It only lasted for about 10 seconds.
Marlon, why the hell are you playing that music for? We're trying to sleep.
She came out and started yelling at me about waking everybody up with this music.
There is no music.
There's no doubt in my mind today that this kid was roaming the halls of this hospital trying to complete this music video, and somehow or another his energy or his spirit influenced the nurses to dance.
That's very hard to give up, where so much of your heart and soul was going into a project that you couldn't complete. In Native American cultures, when a person is, for instance, completing a quilt or doing some beadwork, they'll employ someone from the tribe to finish their work so their spirit doesn't remain, so their spirit isn't tied to a place where they do have unfinished business.
The next morning, Marlon is still blamed.
Listen, Allie, I know what I seen. The kid in the ICU, he got up and he was right here.
The kid that died.
That's what happened.
I tried to explain it. I said, listen, it was this kid who needed to complete this video so much.
The kid who died, he got up, he was right there.
Sure he was, Marlon. Sure he was.
So she reported to the unit manager that the patient care assistant on duty that night came into the waiting area playing this music and waking everybody up. I got written up for playing this music. There were 4 different statements from people that they were hearing this music. Everybody heard the same song, and it really, really creeped me out. Prior to this, my belief system was there was no ghost, there was nobody hanging around anywhere. Now I know that not to be true. Energy never dies, it just changes forms. And I know that there are ghosts. At some point in all of our lives, we're gonna leave our body, and we may not go over to the other side. People, for whatever reason, linger around, and their spirits still hang around. And I know this to be true. Hauntings are real.
Late on a summer night, Emily Walsh arrives at a hospital emergency room with excruciating abdominal pain.
It was mostly in my stomach, although just my whole abdominal area was suffering from it.
Doctors quickly determine she has an inflamed gallbladder and requires emergency surgery.
It was some of the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. Definitely never had surgery before, so of course I'm going to be scared.
We're going to get started here, Emily.
They were going to put me to sleep so that I could get this procedure done. He went into my neck with a needle and the tube inside of it, and instead of hitting the vein that he had hoped to,
There's profuse arterial bleeding.
he actually severed my carotid artery and put the tube inside that. Now all of a sudden I could die. And it's not from my gallbladder, it's from a mistake that was made trying to fix my gallbladder.
Prep the clotting agent.
Every second it was in there, it was risking me for a stroke or becoming brain dead. I was scared. The fear and not knowing if I'm going to live or die at that point. I didn't, at that point, know if I was alive or dead.
Emily.
I felt like I went to the other side.
The bleeding stopped. It's under control.
I had this kind of out-of-body experience.
Okay, good. It's under control.
Yes, she looks like she's stabilized.
The only way that he could get the blood to stop flowing was to basically strangle me.
You're gonna be okay, Emily. Just rest now.
Which was extremely traumatic because unfortunately, losing my twin sister, that's how she was killed. When my sister was 21 years old, unfortunately, she was killed by her ex-boyfriend. As awful and as terrifying as this experience was for me, this was just the start of a very harrowing experience.
As Emily is wheeled to the recovery room, a massive storm hits the city.
The wind was heavy and howling. It sounded like screaming. I mean, the hospital is flickering their electricity. So the room was really dark, and a lot of the light was coming through the flashes of lightning through the window. I saw a person outside my window. He screamed my name. He just kept saying, "It's coming, it's coming." It's coming for you. It frightened me, and I just tried to push it off because at that point, that's the last thing I can deal with is more of being afraid. I had my fill of being afraid for that night.
Emily. It's coming. Emily. For
Emily. Mom. How are you?
It was the first moment that we had that we could actually talk to one another, where I wasn't being jabbed with needles or being interrupted.
Okay.
So when I felt up to it, I got out of that hospital bed and I walked my way painfully and slowly to the family room, hoping that it would feel more like home, but it was raining really hard, thunder and lightning, lots of alarms going off.
Weather's crazy.
It was affecting the electricity at the hospital.
Quite the storm. Are you chilly?
The room started to get very cold very quickly. It was absolutely freezing.
That was a big one.
As we were just trying to relax and talk, there was a form standing by the bookshelf. And it was kind of like a shadow, but kind of like a person at the same time.
What is it, Emily?
I told her, well, it's gonna sound crazy, but I saw a ghost.
It's not uncommon for those who find themselves literally at death's door, and sometimes stepping through it and then coming back, to return with enhanced sensitivities. They may see spirits, they may hear disembodied voices, they may just have a sixth sense that they didn't have before. It's as if the experience of going beyond the veil and returning unlocks some kind of special sense inside the human mind. And once those blinders come off, they never go back on again.
He said, it's coming for you, that something was coming for me. Maybe I'm just losing my mind, I don't know. I could barely breathe, I was so afraid. I was completely terrified. That just creeped her out. She wanted to get the hell out of there and go back to the room that we were staying in. I think that I was so full of anxiety from everything that was happening that I was feeling pretty jumpy. The temperature started to change. There was no denying that that room was freezing. And I felt like something was watching me. He's standing at the end of my bed. His face looked melted, almost like it was burned. It made me sick to my stomach. I remember trying to get her to wake up, and I couldn't do it. I had been through so much. I didn't want any more. It's coming for you. I felt like he was kind of trying to warn me, though, and that frightened me. And all of a sudden, a nurse comes into the room. Hi. And she walks over to the bed and walks right through him.
How are you doing, dear?
And he was there 1 minute and then gone the next.
Everything looks all right here.
And that was the last time I saw him.
And what did you say to the nurse?
I mean, obviously, I probably looked shocked, but I recovered and I told her that she had just surprised me because I didn't think that it was a good idea to let on that I was experiencing anything paranormal.
I'll come back in a few hours, dear.
Emily. Mom, he was here.
When my mom finally woke up.
Who was here? It was a man. He was at the foot of my bed.
I frantically told her what happened.
Right there, he was tall. His face was gone. Burnt off or something.
Oh, Emily.
It was awful, Mom. It felt so real.
I felt completely overwhelmed, and I actually got up and I left the hospital for a while, and I sat outside on a bench for probably an hour before I was willing to go back into the hospital. How the heck do you expect to sleep when you're being woken up by dead people at night?
After a sleepless night, a visitor comes to see Emily's roommate.
It was a rough night.
You should have been here to visit me last night. The girl next door, she had some visitor with her all night. It was past visiting hours.
A visitor came into the room for the man who was in the bed beside me.
It must have been 3 or 4 hours.
He was telling her that late in the evening that I had snuck a man into my room.
He had a black leather jacket right inside there.
As soon as he started describing what the guy was wearing,
it wasn't right. There was something off about him.
My mother and I looked at each other with like eyes wide, like, holy shit.
I didn't know what he was doing. It was past visiting hours.
I mean, to have that validation in what I saw.
Oh my God, Stanley.
And the two of us, we were scared. We just kind of sat there completely dumbfounded for quite a while.
They should at least get you a private room.
The next night brings the return of violent storms and new horrors for Emily and her mom.
And I remember being afraid to look up because I felt a presence in the room.
It's coming for you.
You could hear this awful sucking, grinding noises. There was this creature, and it was perched on her chest. It was the scariest thing I have ever seen in my life.
Get off of her!
It was almost like it was sucking the energy out of her.
It looks like the paranormal equivalent of some kind of leech. Emily's mother is deeply bereaved over the death of one of her daughters. And grief is a very powerful and potent emotion. Just the sort of thing that some kind of vampiric entity would latch onto and feed on.
Get the hell away from her!
It turned to me and looked at me, all that energy directed on me, and I felt such intense fear.
Get off of her!
I just don't think I've ever been so afraid in my life. It told me, you're not okay. You've not been okay from the beginning. You didn't make it through the first surgery. You died when they cut your neck. Everything that happened up until this point is just a response of your brain turning off and shutting down. These are the last hallucinations of a dying girl. I didn't know if I was alive fighting this or if I had died back when the anesthesiologist made the cut that changed my life. That was probably one of the scariest things in my life, right up there with when I lost my sister. There is no word that would describe the fear and the hopelessness, and to feel like I was going to fall into nothing and become nothing, and that I was dead. Whatever it was wanted me to be afraid. It wanted me to feel isolated, and it wanted me to give up hope and maybe my life. I think that it fed off that kind of thing. I started to pray for my sister.
Please come to me. Sister, please come to me. Sister, Sister, please, if you can hear me, please help me. I'm so scared. Please help me. Please hear me. Please help me.
And all of a sudden, I could hear singing. Lights started to shine through the blinds of the windows. The most beautiful singing voice that I could imagine, and it just filled me full of strength and hope. I do believe that I had an angel on my side that night, and I do think that my sister had something to do with it.
Emily?
Mom?
Which I'm grateful for.
Are you okay?
Yes.
And I just feel like she would protect me more than anyone.
Okay, Emily.
The following morning, Emily is released from the hospital. Her nightmare finally over.
I've thought about life and death differently since I've lost my sister. So I do feel like this experience has opened my eyes even more. Because I always thought about, you know, my sister died and now she's in a better place. But I didn't really give much thought to the opposite of that, to the possibility that there could be demonic things or some kind of version of hell.
Get the hell away from her!
Whether or not I believe in an actual hell, I think that whatever field of existence that it was from is not a pleasant place at all, and I'm going to try my best to avoid experiencing that again.
Please help me. Please help me.
It's 2012 in Toronto, Ontario.
It was a Wednesday in October, 5 months pregnant, and I decided to do my daily routine, which was go for a walk. It was always so soothing, so calming. And because no one ever bothered me when I went for my walks, I always go along the same path.
But the area has a dark and tragic past.
We were hit back in the 1950s by Hurricane Hazel, and many families perished. But I like to walk along that path because there are memoriams. I believe that a lot of the experiences lead up to something happening as a warning sign or as just something to say, hey, this is coming your way. As I was walking, I'm just listening to the birds tweet. I'm feeling the breeze on my face. It was a beautiful day. And all of a sudden, I could hear a faint baby cry. It wasn't necessarily the cry of hunger or I need to be changed. It sounded like a baby almost panicking. I was a deer in headlights. I wanted to know where the sound was coming from, but it sounded like it was coming from everywhere. I was completely immobilized. I couldn't move. And it terrified me at the same time. I was just frozen. My heart started to race. It was like being in a nightmare, but I was fully awake. I was there. I was present. My first instinct, of course, is to put my hands on my belly and just make sure that baby's okay. But baby was still kicking. I was so afraid. And I remember walking, I felt disoriented. I felt so confused, but almost stunned. My heart raced.
Adding to Stephanie's confusion is a growing sense of unease. Feeling sick, she stumbles home.
Chris!
Hey.
And my husband looked at me and he says, "You look
okay?
Very, very pale. You look like you've seen a ghost."
I don't feel good.
I felt faint. I needed to lay down. I couldn't calm down my heartbeat at all. He goes, "We're calling 911. You're going to the hospital."
911, what's your emergency?
Stephanie is rushed to the hospital with dangerously low blood pressure. The baby's life would have been at risk without medical attention.
They hooked me up to IVs and they kept me overnight for observation. The night nurse checked my vitals.
I'll be back in a little bit, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I had convinced him, let's go for a walk, just because I need to. His whole thing was, you know, let's go back to the room so you can rest.
Hon, why don't you just go call my parents?
You sure?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep walking.
So I told him, I'll meet you back at our room.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
All of a sudden, I heard the same baby cry again. It sounded panicked. My heart started to race again. I did feel immobilized for a brief second. Something like an instinct was telling me, you need to go find this child. Just the baby's cry is enough to just make you want to pick up this child and just make sure that he's okay. When I got to my room, I was so cold. And there was a pram in my hospital room. And it was one of those old prams that you would see from the 1940s, 1950s. And I can see this baby sleeping in all blue. Suddenly, I felt like there was something with me. Her scream was blood-curdling. And she wrapped her arms around her stomach. It's almost like she wanted to protect the baby, but she couldn't. It's almost like she was wearing a gown that wasn't old. Just the material looked so different. But her eyes were black underneath. And all I could do was just turn from her and look inside the pram. And then they all disappeared.
Stephanie reports that she sees the image of this mother that's screaming, "Baby, baby," over and over again. When we take a look at the history of this hospital, we had a hurricane where there was hundreds of victims who were trafficked through this hospital, and there was trauma that was going on. It was imprinting into the environment.
My husband came back as soon as that happened.
Oh my God, are you okay?
I didn't want to tell my husband so much about the detail because I felt like he would have told me, it's your hormones.
Stephanie is kept a second night for observation.
Later on in the night, I had fallen asleep and I had got up. And I got into the bathroom. All of a sudden, I heard the same baby cry again. The sound of that baby's cries sent shivers up my body. I opened the door, and I can see the pram still in place. And I can see this woman again. I'm just looking at her, and she's screaming, "Baby." I could feel her pain, and it felt like my heart was just shattered. I felt like she lost her baby. She was in anguish. When they disappeared the second time, I realized I had seen not one, but two ghosts. And I was confused, scared, and heartbroken. I couldn't breathe. I didn't want to believe that I had seen a ghost. When I got home, I felt very different. I felt like I was almost like my old self.
With a clean bill of health, Stephanie takes time to reflect on the history of the hospital.
The hospital was 4 years old when the hurricane happened. I firmly believe that this woman and this baby are connected to the hurricane and the hospital. The woman and the baby that day were there to make sure that I was okay. I was lured to the hospital so that I can get medical attention for myself and for my unborn child. This experience has taught me that there is life after death. And either a spirit or a ghost can teach us something. Either we're going to run away from it, it'll stop us dead in our tracks for us to pay attention, or it'll tell us to move forward. And I believe it taught me all three.
You gotta call Blue.
Sometimes it does take a toll on you, mentally, physically, emotionally. Like somebody was standing behind me. I was terrified.
It almost feels like you're being followed.
Did you see that?
I didn't want to be judged. People start thinking that, okay, yeah, she's crazy.
I was paralyzed and could not move.
What's going on?
You're fearful. You don't really know what to do.
No, no, no. No, 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 no.
You're taking you to hell!
I was scared.
At a century-old hospital in the heart of St. Louis, things are unusually busy. Nurse Queen Malik has been juggling multiple patients.
We got a cold blue.
I had not expected to come into work and have to deal with code after code after code. We kept asking and looking at each other like, what the heck is going on right now? A code blue, that's generally if somebody goes into cardiac arrest or they go into respiratory failure.
Get the manual resuscitator. Starting compressions. 1, 2, 3.
It's very intense because this is life or death for somebody.
4, 5,
But
6.
we have to understand that people die in these places, and it's not for the faint of heart.
Stand back. Clear. Come on, come on. Stay with me. Clear.
That has always been a passion of mine, to help people.
We have pulse. He's back.
And that's what drives me and helps me. So at this point, after having multiple codes, everything started to settle down.
Crazy day, eh?
You got that right.
I was tired. I was beyond tired.
You know, it seems to be slowing down. So why don't you take a break? You know, take as much time as you need.
She was like, take the time that you need. It's been very intense.
Queen heads to an older, quieter part of the hospital where there are no patients.
Sometimes it does take a toll on you mentally, physically, emotionally, and psychologically as a nurse. I go to the bathroom. That was the first thing that I did. I have never in my entire time being at this hospital, and I had worked here for years, used this bathroom. As I'm washing my hands, the light cuts off. I felt a presence. Like somebody was standing behind me. That immediately made me hit the light on the wall. The light did not come on. There's nobody there.
She wonders if exhaustion is making her see things that aren't there.
My heart was pounding. I'm the only person in here, and to feel that somebody was behind me, yeah, I was very fearful at that time. I didn't want to acknowledge what I had saw. I knew I seen what I saw, but I didn't want to acknowledge it.
In a bathroom, your guard is actually more down because this is more of a private space. You're more vulnerable in this space. So it's easier for a spirit to put you in a state of fear or terror in this location.
I was terrified. I'm seeing spirits, you know, so it's either, are you crazy or is this really real?
Uneasy questions that prompt her to reach out for help.
I'm walking down the hall. I'm on my phone texting my best friend. Something tells me to look up. I see a figure in the shape of a woman. And when I turned around, it wasn't there, but I know that I could see it in the glass. At that moment, I was so freaked out, and it was definitely one of those moments where it was fight or flight. I booked it through the door and ran outside. Once I got outside, I was texting my best friend, and I kind of told her the story. She's like, you're probably just overwhelmed with dealing with the codes and different things of that nature. And so I'd say, I'm not crazy, I'm not tripping. Yes, I've worked hard, but I've seen some stuff that kind of had me a little mentally just kind of distraught. After I had spent some time with her, I knew I had to go back upstairs and finish my shift. We have to understand that these are places where people leave, they pass away. Are the souls happy? Are the souls at rest? If they aren't, are they there to seek justice? Are they there to, haunt the place?
In an attempt to distract herself, Queen attends to her patient's charts.
As I'm sitting there, I feel this breeze. It was a different kind of breeze, a different kind of cold. It's that bone chilling, something that's like, I'm here. The cart just falls over on its own. I'm shaking at this point, like, what is going on? I'm literally freaked out. It's not a cart that will just fall over on its own. I'm not sure what the heck is going on at this time.
It's very common for spirits to manipulate objects in these short energetic bursts. They might cause rattling windows, slamming doors, lights to turn on and off in an attempt to get our attention, in an attempt to perhaps put us in a state of fear, intimidate us, so that we kind of give that power to them. We cower before them.
My heart is racing, it's pounding. And I go to start picking up the charts. Again, I get that feeling that's like, look up.
I died. And behold.
There's this woman again. The moment I locked eyes with her, I knew that this wasn't human. She looked very sad. You can see the sadness, you could feel the sadness. I couldn't even feel myself breathing. And so like me thinking back to that moment, it was almost as if I was paralyzed and could not move. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I get up and I go to that corner and there's nobody there. Who's the spirit? How old is she? How long has she been here? Has she been here since the hospital been here? Or was she there before the hospital was even built?
Queen is about to discover that the hospital's past is much darker than she could have imagined.
Grace, are you okay?
What happened here?
There's something I gotta tell you. Grace, today has been crazy. I swear there's something in this hospital. I have been seeing something all day. A ghost or something, I don't know, but I was sitting at the desk, and then all of a sudden it just fell down, and you think I'm crazy, don't you?
Actually, there's something that I should tell you.
So she was like, this particular hospital has some stories behind it. From my personal experience and just, from hearing people, when you work in a hospital, you deal with people that's been there 30, 40 years.
Years and years ago, there was an exorcism that was performed here at the hospital.
An exorcism? Like with a priest?
Yes.
It is a very old hospital that has rumored to have an exorcism performed in it.
Years ago, a patient at the hospital,
behold the cross of the Lord,
who was possessed by a dark entity, underwent an exorcism.
Get out!
The ritual was successful, but the troubled spirit still lives within the walls of the hospital.
And now we have a ghost wandering the halls.
Rumors have always said that there are spirits that walk the halls and different things of that nature.
That's my patient.
The patient alarm is from the man she brought back from the edge of death earlier in her shift.
After all these chain of events of dealing with this woman and seeing stuff, I was convinced of what everybody had said about this hospital.
Why are you not astonished?
The spirit might have been trying to intentionally frighten Queen because it was very territorial, just like us. Someone was intruding on its space, its sacred space, and it was just trying to gain leverage through fear and intimidation.
Her presence definitely demanded some type of attention, whether it was from me or from somebody else within the hospital, but her presence definitely demanded me to look at her.
It's the spirit.
I do feel like the woman that I locked eyes with had a message, and I wasn't able to understand what she was trying to say. And I do think it irritated her. I think it upset her. One of the patients that had been on the floor for weeks, he passed away. At the same time, she was in the room. Being in a place of where you're fearful and you don't really understand how spirits work, you don't really know what to do. And so you question a lot of things after the matter of the fact has happened, and you think about, all the should've, the could'ves, and the would'ves, and would the outcome have been different?
A short time later, Queen takes the body to the morgue in the basement.
Nobody likes it. Everybody hates going to the morgue. The doors are very heavy to the morgue. So I kick the door stopper to make sure that the door would not move. I even touched the door to make sure that the door wouldn't move. And so I'm like, okay, it's secure. So I pushed him in here. This was not something that I wanted to take my time on doing. The door is starting to shut.
No.
And I kind of catch it with the front parts of my hands to stop the freezer from closing and closing me in the freezer.
It was trying to put her in a state of terror. And in doing so, her psychic output, her energetic output is higher. So perhaps this was an energy that the spirit was using to draw off of, to feed from.
She was gonna lock me in a freezer full of deceased people. And Lord knows what would have happened after that. It kind of made me feel like, was this spirit mad at me? It made me question myself at that moment that did I do something or did I not do something for these series of events to start happening at the hospital. I felt very uneasy at this point, and I wasn't comfortable being there anymore. And so I made it my business to advance and transfer to another hospital. I do feel there's a certain type of energy that is very present within this hospital. It's very urban, it's very old, and it's a very off feeling.
Queen was feeling very uneasy, and these odd feelings of unease when we're entering a space, a dark space, we might have the feeling that something just isn't right. A lot of times this is part of our sixth sense, a sixth sense kicking in for our survival.
I know what my eyes have witnessed. I know what my feelings have felt. I know what my heart rate has been when you encounter these things. The energy that you give is the energy that these spirits, these entities will give back to you. If you're fearful, they will give you that. No. I want people to know that it's very real.
Nurse Janet Kay is working on an acute care ward for seniors.
I think my strengths for nursing is my empathy and my compassion. I'm very empathetic, very feeling. I see into situations where other people kind of look over a situation. Maybe that opens you up to perceive more because you're paying more attention than other people. And I've always had like a sense of things. What I loved about nursing the most was helping people and trying to make their day a little brighter.
Oh, Mrs. Turner, you're supposed to be sleeping. How about I take your rose out so it doesn't stick you?
Oh, no, dear. Let's just leave it like always.
Okay, get some sleep. Go to sleep.
Just being there so that they don't feel like they're alone. So I just want to be a person that's supportive and encouraging. I always try to take care of the underdog. There was this one corner that always gave me a very uncomfortable feeling. I would always give it a wide berth. When you're walking around the corner, it almost feels like you're being followed or something wasn't quite right. There's nothing tangible to see, it's just a feeling. And at first I just, okay, it's just me, whatever. But I didn't feel comfortable there at all. I wasn't really going to mention anything about the corner being off to me or making me feel weird walking around the corner because I didn't want to be judged. People start thinking that, okay, yeah, she's crazy, what the heck, this is nuts. So I never said anything.
Later that night, Janet's gut feeling is confirmed.
Mr. Walters.
One of my patients, you'd kind of have to keep an eye on him. He was pretty lucid for the most part, but he would still have days where he would flash back to older times when he was doing something or that had something that had happened in the past.
Hey, you shouldn't be out of your room. You could fall again. Come on, you want to go for a walk? If that's what you want to do, we'll go for a little walk, okay?
We were coming back around the corner and we come close to the hall where I have had many experiences and not felt comfortable in. He pulled me away from that corner. He's like, we can't go over that way. We gotta stay over here.
Just hold there.
Okay, Mr. Walters.
Just hold there.
Okay.
He does not want to go near that corner, and he's trying to pull me away from the corner because there's a black hole.
Let's go for a walk. We'll go this way. Let's go. Come on. Okay? Let's go.
He was genuinely afraid. Just the look on his face was sheer fear.
You're gonna fall in.
What's wrong? Hey.
He had me freaking out, thinking, holy cow, he's seeing something that I'm not. But his feeling at that corner is exactly the same as mine. This is getting a little weird.
Hey, it's okay. Come on. It's okay. Nothing's there. Let's go. We'll go this way. Okay?
He's seeing something that I've been feeling all this time, and he's getting really upset about this.
Okay. We'll go for a walk this way, okay? Let's get you back to your room, okay?
So him being afraid and him validating every feeling that I had, made me even more scared. I've got goosebumps from head to toe because I am realizing I'm not the only one.
Okay, come on. Let's get you back to bed. Come on.
The next night, Janet's misgivings are brought to a new level.
Ready for another exciting night?
Lori will be fine by me.
I started the night shift working with MJ, and we get into a really good routine. Her and I worked really well together.
Oh, 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock, we shut the lights off. It's dimmer so that the patients aren't, it's bedtime. I just catch something out of the corner of my eye. It's like a flash of white that goes by the door. So I get up and look, and there's nothing there.
Did you see that? MJ, the white flash, did you see it?
Did you see the girl in white?
What do you mean, the girl in white?
She goes, there's a couple of nurses that have seen a girl that just walks by. All you catch is a glimpse or a flash of white, but there's nothing there. You just get that kind of, the hair on the back of your neck stands up a little bit. You get goosebumps, and it's like you start looking around. What's going on? I'm a little freaked out. And I looked down the hall, and there was another flash of white walking across.
I'll be right back.
I get goosebumps from head to toe, and I'm feeling very uncomfortable. I'm feeling like I'm walking into almost like a cold spot. It was a white shadow. You couldn't really see through it, but it wasn't solid either. You knew it wasn't a real person. I'm literally scared. But I've got a job to do, there's patients to take care of. I have to go look. There's nobody in that room. There's no patient in that room. What did I just see?
Oh my God.
I was very, very frightened. This is creepy. This is not right. This is just not real. There's nobody there. I know I've saw something. I know that there's something there. I was freaked out, and I was scared.
The shadow entity Janet saw might have been an entity who has not yet mastered the skill of being able to fully project itself to her, where the dead are crossing from our dimension to the other. A lot of times they are associated with something very ominous and malevolent.
What's happening? Oh my God.
The next night, inexplicable energies continue to torment the hospital.
A couple of the patients were down by the corner.
There's a hole there. You're gonna fall in and be gone forever.
And all of a sudden, one of them was kind of trying to drag the other wheelchair back, and the gentleman in the wheelchair that is being drugged back is not liking what's going on because he doesn't know why the other patient is trying to draw him back.
Stop fighting.
The hole.
Okay, enough fighting. Go back to the
hole.
There's nothing there. Go.
But when I get there and intervene and kind of find out, why are you pushing his wheelchair? Why are you trying to pull him back down the hall? And he's like, that hole, there's a hole there. If he goes there, he's going to fall in. It's a hole. He's gonna disappear. He's pointing to the same spot. This is just weird. Okay, this is freaking me out now.
Calm down. Go back to the common area. You too, Mr. Jones. Go. Both of you.
He's nuts.
I was a little shocked and a little freaked out. It made me feel even more afraid. What is going on in that hallway?
Later that night, Janet is assisting an agitated patient.
One of my favorite patients, she's very miserable, very cranky.
Stupid little bitch, you're gonna go to hell. You're gonna go to hell in here.
I've never seen her like that, so it was very strange, really uncomfortable, very scary.
Leave me alone, you bitch. Don't need you guys here.
Now, Mrs. Turner, we had to take you for your bath.
Don't you touch me. You guys are so dirty.
And profanity is really abundant.
You're a little slut, too.
You knew she was grumpy. She didn't want you near her.
Okay, Mrs. Turner.
Because you guys are so dirty, that's why. Just,
okay.
Don't you touch me.
She doesn't want anybody touching her. She doesn't want anything to do with anybody.
You're gonna go to hell. I'm gonna take you there.
I take her to her room, and we're getting her ready for bed.
He's gonna get you, and all your life will be over. It's gonna be over in no time at all. Don't you go near me. Don't you go near me. I told you, leave me alone. No, leave me alone. No, get away from me.
She's just swinging and scratching and grabbing and kicking and punching and just agitated and angry and abusive. Like, she is just not wanting anybody near her. Like, she's just pure evil, like just hatred. She was like a wild animal that had been caged, let loose, and we're trying to wrangle her into bed.
Touch me, just leave me alone. No! No! Get away from me!
This woman was evil.
Are going to hell. I'm going to take you to hell! You're going to hell with me!
I looked in her eyes and there was nothing but pure evil and hatred. Her eyes were just so dark and so scary.
I am taking you to hell! You're going to hell with me!
I was terrified. The evil and the hatred in her face and in her eyes and her attitude. It's like, this is not human. She just wanted to kill you. She was just pure evil.
Please, Mrs. Turner, you have to calm down now!
No, 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 no,
Hold her down. You have to calm down now!
Leave me alone! No!
Down. Hold her shoulder down.
Don't touch me!
I've looked into this woman's eyes and I swear I saw the devil himself. She was just pure hatred. She would have ripped your eyes out and not thought nothing of it.
Leave me alone! No!
Down.
No!
I swear to God this woman was possessed. I swear to God she was.
Oh my God.
The patient passed away.
It's really easy for a spirit to manipulate the living because so much of our experience is with the unseen. So much of what we don't see is energy. Our bodies are made up of so much energy. This might have been a case of possession where this elderly person was able to exert a strength greater than her own, an energy being fed to her through a spirit.
Janet begins to suspect the source of the dark energies at play.
There's definitely something going on. That bad spot in the hallway, is that a portal? Is that what's going on? A portal to me, I believe, would be energy going both ways. So if you can go out, what can come in? Is there something coming in that we're not aware of? Is that why we're having all of this activity? Is that why all these strange incidents are going on? All of a sudden, I feel overwhelmed in that corner. It was going to be like quicksand. It would suck you in. There was no escaping it, and just disappearing. I am genuinely afraid. It's scary.
This black hole, this black void, could actually be an opening between dimensions. They're most often referred to as portals, spirit portals or vortexes. A person standing near one of these portals or vortexes might expect to see spirits crossing back and forth between dimensions. A lot of times the comings and goings of these spirits are associated with malevolence. Evil spirits want to cause an intimidation and fear in others so that they don't have any distractions while they're crossing back and forth between dimensions.
After this terrifying encounter, Janet decides to leave her job.
I was a nurse for approximately 3.5 years. I loved being a nurse. I loved taking care of patients. I loved taking care of people, but I've had enough of this, so I stopped working at the hospital. I miss my job as a nurse with the patients and my coworkers, but I couldn't handle all the occurrences and activity in the hospital. This experience has taught me that death isn't final. You have to be careful because there's stuff there that not everybody is aware of, and it's scary if you don't know what you're dealing with.
Oh my God.
That corner was almost like a black hole or a portal. Portal to another dimension where energy is coming through and it's causing all these chaotic encounters with the patient. It could be very scary and dangerous. There's good and evil in all of us, and I think that remains whether we're living or we're dead.
There was just this dread, and it just kind of made my stomach kind of turn a little bit.
Immediately, I felt this energy. It feels like somebody is standing directly in front of me, like we'd be looking eye to eye.
Don't you see him? The man!
My heart literally felt like it went to my stomach.
There was nobody in there. And he's like, that's the haunted room. I was shaking. I honestly didn't know what we were gonna find.
All of a sudden, I did feel like something was watching me.
As I turned the corner, I came face to face with something that scared me to death.
I will never forget that sound.
Almost like something angry had its grip around me. I can't even say that scared was a feeling anymore. It was just, I was terrified.
I just wanted to get out of there.
That screaming, I will never forget it. I hear it now, today.
At a long-term care facility for elderly patients, Paige Mitchell works the night shift as a personal support worker.
A personal support worker is someone that looks after the elderly if they're in a long-term care home or a hospital setting. I love being a personal support worker because it's nice to know that people are taken care of properly.
Alrighty. Nice and comfy? Yes, thank you.
It's gratifying for me because it's like, what if they were my grandmother? I'd want them to have the best care they could have.
There we go. Thank you. All set.
A lot of my residents didn't have family, so they were very much alone. If I had known that my resident was about to pass away, I would make sure that I was there with them so they weren't alone. A lot of my shifts were holding the hands of residents that were about to pass.
It's okay. I'm right here. I'm right here.
It was very heart-wrenching work. It took a lot of toll on me emotionally. But at the end of the day, it wasn't about me. It was about this resident not passing away alone. You know, and I would make sure they felt loved and welcomed and that it was okay to pass.
It's all right. It's all right.
On this night, Paige is assigned to an unfamiliar wing for the first time.
I had heard rumors about Wing 2 on the night shift. Most PSWs refuse to work down that wing at night. They said it's just a weird feeling and we don't like working there. I honestly thought that maybe they were just tired or exhausted from night shift after night shift. I just kind of shrugged it off and was like, maybe it's just a resident that's, you know, not nice at night.
Paige will soon realize that those rumors should not be brushed off so easily.
Do you smell smoke?
There was a slight, faint smell of smoke, which was out of the ordinary.
Something's burning.
I think we should go check it out.
Yeah, let's take a look.
We should investigate this and make sure that, you know, nothing's wrong.
It's gotta be coming from somewhere.
Yeah, no, it's gotta be something. I'm gonna go this way.
I'll check upstairs.
Paige heads up to the offices on the second floor. No one should be there after hours.
The hallways were darkened at night. Not even 5 seconds later, I went cold. It almost felt like the entire room dropped its temperature. All of a sudden, I did feel like something was watching me. Nothing was there, but I still felt very afraid and like something was staring at me. It did start to occur to me that something else was there. But darkness plays tricks on your eyes, so I couldn't believe fully that there was something, but I still felt very unnerved.
Did you find anything?
Nothing.
Figured that nothing was burning and it was just an odd smell, so we went back to the nurse's station thinking, you know, this is weird.
Listen, there's always something creepy down there.
What do you mean?
It's just a feeling, you know?
Every part of me didn't want to know anymore. It didn't want to find out. I just wanted to leave it alone. That feeling of being watched did not go away. I was still feeling like I was being watched while I was taking care of my resident.
How are you?
Feeling better.
Good. Look, we got some fresh linens for you.
As in the middle of changing my resident,
Yeah, page 9.
the second that shadow passed the doorway, I experienced the worst feeling I've ever had in my life.
How are you doing this evening? I'm great.
I couldn't move.
Great. Thank you so much for coming. Nice to see you.
I started to feel like I wasn't me. Something had pretty much taken over me. Tried to move my own limbs, I couldn't. It felt like somebody was holding me down, almost like something angry had its grip around me. I can't even say that scared was a feeling anymore. It was just, I was terrified. I tried to move my own limbs, I couldn't. And it felt angry. And I believe that's why I felt so scared. It was because I felt someone around me, holding me, preventing me from getting to my resident. I started to feel petrified, like I wasn't me. The outside, I was paralyzed. On the inside, I was screaming at the top of my lungs. This thing, whatever it was, could hurt me.
This spirit might have been deliberately trying to put her in a state of fear and intimidation so that the energetic output of her system was higher, therefore an energy that the spirit could draw off of like a battery. Paige was exposed to so much of this spectral energy that it simply overloaded her system. You know, it sent her into convulsions. You know, she's crying because she's trying to release this energy, which she doesn't know how to process.
Paige, snap out of it!
Her coworker cannot see the entity and is alarmed to see Paige paralyzed in fear.
Hey, snap out of it! Hey! Paige! Paige! Hey! Paige! Paige, snap out of it! Hey! Hey! Paige! You okay?
What got me back was my coworker squeezing my shoulders and calling my name. The moment I came to, I took a deep breath, almost like I hadn't breathed for a while.
Are you okay?
I don't know.
What's going on? Where are you going? Hey!
Just ran by him and needed to get out of that room and to see if there was anything in that hallway.
Don't you see him?
See who?
The man!
My heart literally felt like it went to my stomach.
The man! The man!
When I looked behind me, nothing was there, but I still felt very afraid. She said that he's calling himself the man. And that's when I started to just go crazy inside. I felt very confused. It was hard for me to make it through for the rest of the shift. I wanted to run. Every part of me told me, get out of this building. There's something wrong.
Paige returns to the nursing station and tries to calm herself.
I need to stay for my residence, but everything inside me still told me, like, you need to get out of here. About 20 minutes later, a call bell rang, which shows us what room is calling and what bed is calling.
What's wrong?
The bed that was calling was the bed that I was standing at when I had gone through my trance. Everything in my body told me, don't do it. Do not go back down that hallway. This resident potentially needs my help. I need to do my job. This resident was nowhere near a state of where we needed to keep an eye to see if she was going to pass away. She was very functioning, very lively resident. She was completely fine. It felt like the longest hallway I'd ever walked in my life. And the entire time I was walking it, I felt like eyes were on me. Something was hovering over me.
Rita? Rita? Hey. Rita? Jacob? Jacob? I don't know what happened, but she's dead. She was fine 20 minutes ago.
This doesn't make any sense.
How was this woman able to press a call bell seconds before she passed?
I have no idea.
There's no possible way.
What do we do?
I guess we just take care of the body for now.
So we had no idea why she passed. There was no signs, no signals. All of a sudden, I went cold. My heart went back into my stomach. The feeling of being watched intensified a lot more. I felt very terrified.
I believe we do have a layer of spiritual protection. Spirits, guardian angels, that protect us from things from this other realm. But if we're in severely weakened state, if we're near death, there might be entities that can come and sap our life force, our prana, to the point of death. I think in this case, this might have been an entity who has come to escort the recently departed to the other side.
It wasn't until actually later that night that I had believed that everything connected. Due to the passing of my resident, I decided to see if I was crazy. I opened up the computer and I searched the man. I wanted to know if this was a legend, if this was just a thing that happened. I wanted to know an answer. Third one down said something called the Soul Taker. As soon as I clicked the link of the Soul Taker, everything shut off, the lights. As soon as that happened, my heart went back into my stomach, and again, I wanted to run out of that building because something just wasn't right. I Google searched the man again. No results found. I had typed in the exact same thing that I had typed prior to seeing the Soul Taker.
No results found.
It almost felt like whatever was watching me didn't want me to do anything that I was doing. And it just felt like whatever was watching me had it out for me. Like they wanted me to leave. The remainder of my shift, I stayed away from Wing 2. I went down Wing 1, and I just restocked everything and just tried to stay on that wing for as long as I could. I was very shaken up for the rest of the shift. I double-checked my steps. I looked over my shoulder. I had the flashlight with me everywhere I went. I didn't want to be in the dark alone. I don't really tell this story a lot. Every fiber in my body tells me just to leave it, go away, don't tell it again. It was the only time that I had ever just cried after a shift. It was the worst shift I had ever worked. I was able to get myself home. I couldn't sleep. This has stayed with me ever since. I can't forget it. The feeling does not leave me. I'm still terrified to this day.
Death is a daily reality in hospitals, so stories of paranormal events are not uncommon. But older hospitals run by the church hold a special place for close encounters of the ghostly kind. Christina is a veteran nurse who works in palliative care with dying patients.
I really like giving and caring for people, especially when it's such a difficult time in their life.
Christina works at an old hospital founded by an order of nuns.
The sisters still have an impact on the hospital. There's statues. Things like that just let you know that the sisters have a presence there. When I started nursing, I was in a very old hospital, and I worked with a nurse who used to be able to sense things, to see things. And she told me that whenever we worked together, there was always a lot more activity. I knew where she was coming from because I usually did sense things. When I left that hospital and then went to this hospital, I felt like there's certain spots where somebody was there with you, even though you didn't see anything.
One particular trouble spot is the stairwell on the floor Christina works on.
I was doing rounds, and I was trying to get up to the 4th floor to check in with the unit, see what's going on. Immediately, I felt this energy. It feels like somebody is standing directly in front of me. Feels like we'd be looking eye to eye. I decided to use the back stairwell. When you get to the top, you're in a unit. It's locked. Nobody can get in unless you can swipe in. And it's all dark and the lights are all off. I'm all by myself. And then a call light goes off above a patient door. For a call bell to go off, it needs to be pressed by the patient, but there was nobody in there. I felt a chill go down my spine, and I felt the hair on the back of my neck go up as I looked up and saw that light. Why did this just start going off as I walked by it? I got scared. The main thing on my mind was to get out. And I went over to the palliative care unit. I said, "You're never going to guess what just happened when I went through the unit next to you."
What? The red collar was on, the door was locked, and I know nobody's in there.
Well, do you think it's still going off?
I don't know.
Well, let's go take a look.
I was shaking because I knew there couldn't be anybody in there, but I honestly didn't know what we were going to find. The call light was going off by the bed.
Why won't it turn off?
Here. It won't stop.
It was surreal. It just didn't make any sense. And then we called security, and he said, "Is it room number 9?
Yes, it's room 9. Why?
And he's like, "That's the haunted room." I just felt scared.
Fear is such a powerful emotion. All of us have felt fear, but fear is also, it's not just the emotion, it's the high psychic output that's able to imprint itself, almost like a fingerprint, a spectral fingerprint that those of us who are more sensitive to this energy might be able to easily pick up on. We're kind of lending our energy to this phenomenon, so we're reactivating it based on perhaps the emotions we're feeling might be similar to the emotions the spirit expressed at the time of their death.
Later in her shift, Christina is on break and uses the time to calm her nerves.
Usually around maybe 2:30 or 3 o'clock, I would go down to the hospital gym. And you have to go down to the basement. When I do go down there, I would sometimes get in my head and get a little freaked out. When you go to the hospital gym, you're the only one essentially that's in that building. The only way you can get into the hospital gym is if you swipe in. And I thought, what in the world is that? I figured if I call security, he'll just say, it's the water running through the old pipes, but it did not sound like that at all.
Suddenly, the banging stops. Christina decides to go on with her workout.
So distraught. It sounded human, but I knew it couldn't be.
Hi, security. Yeah, there's someone screaming in the basement.
I kept looking back over into that corner, and it was so hard to listen to. It just sounded so anguished, and it's just upsetting to hear because I could feel sadness in the wailing. And I just kept thinking, come on, hurry up. And then as soon as he approached, it stopped. When I saw the security guard coming, I felt such relief.
So you say there's someone screaming down here?
There was. It was coming from in there, but...
For it to stop just before someone else would be able to hear it, I was stunned.
Well, where's it coming from?
I think it might be coming from in there.
I asked him if we could go and check the room attached to the gym. Forget that sound. The banging and the screaming, I will never forget it. I hear it now, today. It was almost too much just to stand there listening to it. I just wanted to get out of there. I could feel someone there. I could feel sadness. The security guard starts talking about this story he heard years ago. There was a sister, and she had TB or polio, and so she had to be kept in isolation. And she had to use an iron lung. An iron lung is like an old-fashioned ventilator, so people would be put in the iron lung, and only their head would really be out. She hated being by herself. She wanted company. So what she used to do, he said, is she would bang on the walls and she would scream for someone to come and visit her, for someone to come and keep her company.
I think this nun needed a witness to her anguish. She had been in a state of isolation and pain for so long. She needed a human guide to come and show her that she could be set free. Someone that would acknowledge her loneliness and her suffering so she could be set free, so she could be put in a state of peace.
All the hairs on the back of my neck just went right up.
Let's get out of here.
Let's go.
That is exactly what that sounded like. It sounded like someone who was just in mental pain, and that is exactly what she would have been. And that was all she could do, was bang on the walls and scream. I felt like it completed the circle. It made sense. And I was able to find out the background. And in my heart, I really know that that is exactly what it was.
To this day, Christina continues to have a connection to the afterlife.
I've always had a strong feeling whenever I'm doing after-death care, like they're right there and they're watching. And it's a strong feeling. We don't want to always have those energies just piling up with us.
About 10 years ago, there was a hurricane that came through Vermont. There did a lot of devastation to a lot of small towns in the area. One of the areas hit very hard was the Waterbury State Complex, which also was home of the Vermont State Hospital. So they had to evacuate that whole building, and nobody was allowed back in the building for a while until they could figure out exactly what was going on, how they were going to get the water cleared out, and what next direction to go into.
With the damaged hospital slated for demolition, Kenny Irish is given an unnerving assignment.
I was working for a bottled water company. They came to us and said, we need you to come to the Vermont State Hospital section and remove every cooler that is in the building. Nobody that ever worked for our company had ever been in this actual building, for the simple fact that the individuals that were housed in there were criminally insane and were psychotic, and we were not allowed in for security reasons, for safety reasons. There were some stories about some horrible treatments that had happened, and then when you think back to it being built and opened in 1890, medicine was very different then. It made it very uneasy for anybody that had to go there to do their job. The building was just old and just desolate looking. Just had a feeling of just kind of dread around it. It just seemed very dead. I waited for the groundskeeper to show up.
Kenny? Aren't you gonna show me inside? Show me around here?
Not my problem. Good luck finding them. There's no way I'm going in there.
Great.
We didn't know where the water coolers were because we weren't allowed in there originally. It just felt really, really just cold, and there was just this dread that was just like right there, and it just kind of made my stomach kind of turn a little bit. I kind of start hearing kind of like some banging, which was very unusual. There shouldn't be anything in there right now that should be making any type of banging or clanging noises. Then I start hearing something that kind of sounds like chatter, like people kind of talking to each other. It's like a whispering, but yet I couldn't make it out. I was starting to get like really nervous. So I'm just, just talking myself through it, saying, all right, just go up there. There's nobody in the building. There's nothing going on. There's just probably an animal in the building. There's an explanation for this. Actually feeling some relief because I know there's one down and I know I've got a lot more to do, but at least I'm on a roll now. I'm dealing with, some anxiety from what I've heard and what I've known about the location. The individuals were high risk to themselves as well as anybody else around them. At this point, I was very, very afraid. I just wanted to get out of there. As I go by one of the rooms, I look, and out of the corner of my eye, I see it looks like a figure standing there.
I don't want to
Thinking, okay, that was a person. I just saw a person standing there. The anxiety kind of kicked in and I kind of felt some dread. The only thing that was in the room was a bed that was there for a patient, and there was like some straps hanging off of it, which I'm assuming it was to hold them in place if they needed to.
Here we have a hospital ward that was essentially filled with a lot of depression, a lot of grief, a lot of anger. And when we've got a situation like that, oftentimes the intelligence that is birthed from that situation tends to be very aggressive and tends to mirror the activity and energy that was in the space prior.
My mind started really racing and trying to figure out what I just saw. It was a solid figure. It looked like somebody that was kind of hunched over. I felt panic, you know, a little bit hard to breathe. Just wanted to get out of there.
What?
I just keep going, I keep going, almost to the door. I'm almost out of this building. As I turned the corner, I came face to face with something that scared me to death. I looked at him and I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm an electrician. I've got to meet the groundskeeper here.
You okay, buddy? I'm getting the hell out of here.
My whole train of thought was, you know what, we don't need this equipment. This equipment can stay here. If they demolish the building, they can demolish the equipment. We're not going back. I'm a Christian, and I do believe that, you know, there is a spirit realm out there, and that there's definitely certain aspects that I don't necessarily understand. Whatever it was an experience that I won't forget, and it's something that I'll be taking with me for a long time.
I had an uneasy feeling from the time I pulled in the parking lot. I knew that he was uneasy.
That feeling you get when something sneaks up on you.
Hey, buddy.
The hair everywhere on my body just kind of stood right up.
One night, the call bell just rang. It's from a newly emptied room that the resident just passed away. I felt alone and scared, like you're being watched.
Whatever we were dealing with was not good.
Cat got your tongue?
We needed to get out of there.
What was that?
When I heard that sound, it scared the out of me.
On the east coast of Canada, historic Prince Edward Island is home to some of the oldest settlements in the country.
I grew up in a small town in Prince Edward Island. Just a really quiet town on a quiet little island was basically my childhood.
On a summer afternoon, Kara and her young son arrived to visit her grandfather, who has just moved in to a long-term care home.
See Poppy? Yeah?
It was one of our first hospitals in Prince Edward Island. It was resurrected in 1933 and was then turned into a long-term care facility. I could feel the tightness of my son's hand holding my right hand, and I knew that he was uneasy. I had an uneasy feeling from the time I pulled in the parking lot. As long as I can remember, I've always seemed to have some kind of sixth sense, if that's what you'd like to call it. Things like just walking into a certain room or into a certain building or house and just have this overwhelming feeling of some kind, like something might happen to somebody or something was gonna happen and then it does. And trying to express those feelings to other people was really hard for me because it just seemed like it wasn't something that was normal that everybody had. And as we walked in, it was like he went completely mute. He didn't want to go anywhere. So I had to keep reassuring him that we're just gonna have a quick visit with Poppy, say hi, check out his new place, and then we'd be on our way to have an afternoon together at the park. But first, I wanted to go and see my grandfather.
Hey, what's going on?
This lady that we came across, it was like she was looking at us, but she was also looking through us at the same time.
Okay, come on, let's go. Let's go. Come on.
So we get inside of the elevator, and my son moves a little bit closer, and I can feel him kind of holding a little bit tighter. So I knew that he was under some distress and that we weren't going to stay very long at all.
Hi, Poppy.
We had a little visit, and we waited out in the hallway for the elevator to come up to the 3rd floor to get us.
Hello. What's your name? Don't be shy.
This older lady, she was very in my son's face.
Cat got your tongue?
He wanted nothing to do with it.
Let's go.
There was definitely something about this woman that made us both extremely uneasy.
Let's go.
I don't like that place.
He just kept saying, I don't like that house. I don't like that house. There's scary people, and I don't like that house. He looked at me and he said, do we ever have to come back here?
Okay, well, you know what? We don't have to come back, okay?
I truly felt like my son, he had the same thing that I had whenever I was younger, and he could experience things like I could too.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Like all children, Kara's son is more sensitive to the paranormal than adults are. He's yet to develop the calluses that we have over our senses. He's yet to allow the world to convince him that things like this are just fairy tales and belong in storybooks.
After a year of me and my son visiting the building for the first time, it was in our local paper and on our news and stuff that now that the new facility was built, the old one was being torn down.
The centuries-old building quickly falls into disrepair.
It sat there for probably a few years, completely vacant. One night, me and my brother were coming from a friend's place, and we drove past the building. I'm driving, so I look to my left where the building is.
Why is that light on? That light shouldn't be on.
And I see a light come on upstairs.
There shouldn't be anyone in this building.
There's absolutely no power to this building whatsoever. There's no access to the building. The doors were all boarded up. My brother turned his head and looked at me and said, "Holy and my brother seen it too. And we both sat there and just looked at each other and didn't know what to say.
Kara!
I knew it. It was almost like there was validation. Like, I knew that there's something with this building. I knew it, and I knew it from day one. Me and him were walking around the building, and we were checking out if there's anything possible that we could debunk this light with.
There was something up there.
I don't know.
There was absolutely nothing but darkness and stillness and quietness. That was all that was there.
You saw it.
I don't know. I don't know what I saw.
You saw it!
I saw something.
Okay, let's just go.
As we start to move, we hear this light tapping. And we both stopped and looked at each other, and we were like, "Did you hear that?" It went from a tapping to a, like, thumping knock on glass. Like what you would hear somebody knocking on a pane glass window. She was just standing there, literally staring at us. She looked very lost. She was lost, or she was lonely, or she was looking for somebody to notice her.
Do you see her?
My brother, literally, he was frozen like a statue, just staring up at this window. And I remember feeling like that fight or flight aspect, like, do I run or do I stay? Like, I don't know what to do. We both jumped. I have never been that scared in my life. We just bailed.
Broadly speaking, there are two types of haunting, the residual type and the intelligent. The residual type is nothing more than a form of paranormal recording. The intelligent type of haunting, on the other hand, seems to have a personality. It's aware of you. It will sometimes talk to you, it will interact with you, and in certain cases, it may even choose to harm you.
And we kind of just stopped to, like, catch our bearings for a second and, like, take a deep breath.
What the heck was that?
I don't know.
Many reports of ghosts and hauntings come out of nursing homes and long-term care facilities. And there are many reasons for this, but I think the most prevalent is that there is a great deal of death in those kind of locations. And where you find a great deal of death, you often find a great deal of paranormal activity.
My brother was starting to head towards the car, but I had this feeling like I wasn't ready to leave. Like, there's something that was keeping me there.
Kara, let's go.
Just give me a second.
I was not ready to leave that building. Had to go and check out this door. I could feel the cold steel up against my skin.
What are you doing?
I don't know what came over me, but I knocked on the door.
Sorry to bother you. We didn't mean you any harm.
I wanted them to know my intentions. I'm sorry if we bothered anybody. We just seen a light and we were just taking a peek around and looking, and we didn't mean any harm, and we're leaving now.
Okay. Okay, let's go.
What was that?
Boom, boom, boom. We just ran as fast as we could.
Kara and her brother have been exploring the old hospital, and suddenly whatever is in there wants them out. And it shows this very clearly and very angrily. Whatever they're dealing with now wants them gone, and it makes no bones about telling them.
I have never been that scared. I have never felt that way before, and I have never experienced anything like that before, ever.
Where are my keys? Where are my keys? I'm looking for the keys, okay? I'm looking!
I didn't even want to look at the building. I just wanted to get out of there. I didn't even want to look back.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Why would you try to talk to me?
I felt something, okay? What's happening? I got a feeling about this place. I told you. What's happening? What happened to you?
Burning! Burning!
He was in panic mode, obviously in pain.
What happened to you?
He was screaming at me that it felt like somebody was burning him with a lighter, is the only way that he could explain how the pain felt on the back of his neck.
Let me see. Oh my God.
His neck was red raw, like it was scalding, like somebody had scalded him with hot boiling water.
Oh my God. There's a handprint burned on your neck.
There was what looked exactly to be like the handprints, as if somebody went like that on the back of his neck.
Okay, well, hold still.
That's when I took a couple pictures of what I witnessed on the back of his neck to show him. And I took my cell phone and I showed him the pictures of what was on the back of his neck. And he went white, like completely white. Whatever it was had physically touched one of us. And that was really, really scary for us.
Kara's brother experiences the alarming sensation of his neck beginning to burn. And when Kara takes a look, she sees that there is a handprint on his neck. Generally, we see it in the case of an aggressive spirit, or at the very least, one that's willing to inflict harm on the living in order to make its presence known.
Whatever touched him meant him harm.
The woman in the window. It was her.
So what Kara sees here is the figure of the old lady standing in the window, tap, tap, tapping on the glass, trying to attract her attention. And then the handprint on her brother's neck.
God.
Tells us that this isn't residual. There is something intelligent in that building, and it is willing to hurt the people that come to it.
When I seen her, she looked familiar. I realized that it was the lady that me and my son encountered outside of the elevator that day.
Don't be shy. Cat got your tongue?
It was her.
The old lady could possibly have been trying to get our attention to tell us, you should leave now and not push your limits. Like a warning. It's a warning that whatever we were dealing with was not good. And I remember grasping the steering wheel of my car and just kind of like white knuckle driving. I fully believe that if we had stayed, something horrible could have possibly happened, and that we got out at just the right time, and that we were lucky that my brother only got away with the hand mark on the back of his neck and nothing else.
Hold still.
I know that things growing up that I might have seen or that I might have felt, that I didn't know what any of those things were before, this experience clarified to me that it's real. And that there is something more out there than what we just see every single day.
The city of Thunder Bay is on the western shore of Lake Superior, on land long inhabited by the Ojibwe people.
Where I live, it's right on Lake Superior, and it's widely known that the Ojibwe people use the land as ceremonial land.
Cliff Shawanamash works at a long-term care facility caring for the area's elder residents.
I'm a recreational therapist, and what that means is I assist elderly people in enjoying the last little bits of their lives in the home.
There's your first man. I can take the hit.
Growing up, I wasn't the greatest grandson. I didn't see my grandmother a lot, and after she passed, I always regretted that. So working here, I have 200 grandparents, and they treat me as such.
So this one? No, you gotta move your king.
You get to see them at their best times, all the way up to their worst times, and then on their way out. And then when they're leaving, you're very happy for them. It's not as gruesome as everybody thinks it is.
But one night on the job, Cliff begins to notice unsettling sights and sounds.
It was about 2 months when I first got my first experience. Over my right shoulder, I felt a cold breath on the side of my face, kind of like when somebody leans in to whisper in your ear. I heard a loud whisper just say, "Hey, buddy." That feeling you get when something sneaks up on you in the darkness or anywhere and you can just tell something's there. The hair everywhere on my body just kind of stood right up, right on end. I felt my heart quicken, but I was trying to be calm. I don't want to make the residents panic. We're kind of trained not to show any emotion. This was the day that things all started to change. I see a black mass. It looks like a person walking by, going into the coat room. I know what I saw, and I was 100% sure that there was a person in there.
Cliff's conviction wavers when he finds the cloakroom empty.
I wish I could tell you it ended there, but it did not. That's when I started to get the chills. I started to find it very eerie.
Cliff tries to shrug off his misgivings and focus on work.
All of a sudden, there was rapping on a door right in our storage room. I heard a couple more noises. It sounded like things were moving around. I know for a fact there was nobody there because there was nobody in the office. The paperwork was moved. By this point, I was starting to get spooked. I was starting to feel very uneasy.
The next day, Cliff decides to get to the bottom of the strange noises.
I decided to, one day, I'm gonna try and do a recording when nobody's around. Then I came back, went into my storage room, got my phone. When I heard that sound, it scared the out of me. I started feeling that whoever or whatever was behind this wanted to make themselves known.
Just as we all know people that enjoy making others afraid, the same is true with spirits. Some of them like nothing more than to frighten because they enjoy it.
I've lived in the bush and I've come face to face with bears. I've had wolves around me, and so nothing really scares me too often, but at this point, I was terrified.
On his next shift, Cliff is met with a new surprise.
I went back to the office, and my boss was standing right in front of our storage room.
What's going on here?
We can't get in.
All the carts are pushed up against the door, and there's no way for that to happen. I started to feel kind of shaken, kind of uneasy. It was quite shocking. It was next to impossible to open it, the way the carts were all jammed in there.
Who did this?
This is crazy.
So I just pushed the carts away. I tried to focus on jobs at hand and just move along with my day, keeping the uneasy feeling as far in the back of my mind as possible.
can. Yes, you can.
Cliff, I need you to come with me right now.
Right now?
I thought, oh my God, I'm in trouble. What did I do now? She had this kind of like an upset look on her face.
Now.
So I walked back with her.
How is this possible?
What? And there it was again. All the carts were back up against the door. Hair on my neck stood up. It was kind of almost like a panic feeling. I just got a very uneasy feeling, a feeling of that I wasn't alone, even though I was standing there with my boss, but there was somebody else with us there.
Soon, the terrifying incidents start to affect the home's residents as well.
I hope they let me sleep. It's so scary.
They were complaining to me that the child will not stop playing, and why won't the man stop this boy from making so much noise? It's keeping them up.
No. Please help me.
The hysterical resident is calmed only by Cliff's reassurance that he will be on call that night.
No.
You okay, Gavin? You okay? What's wrong, buddy?
I was just frozen. So at this point, I was terrified. I didn't know what was happening.
The next day, Cliff's coworker reveals she has had a similar encounter.
Jackie, I don't know what's going on in this place.
You're not gonna believe this, but I saw a boy and a man.
And I could tell by the expression of my boss that she felt freaked right out.
I'm sick of this.
I was shocked. I was just staring at this pot. My heart's just a pounding.
What are we dealing with here?
I think it's this boy.
As soon as they mentioned the little boy, another pot exploded. So I kind of figured, okay, this little guy, he wants to be known that he's there. I call my father-in-law and I start telling him the story, and he tells me that prior to there being a home built there, that there used to be a school standing there. And while he was going to school there, he had a best friend who was actually murdered by his mother. And then she committed suicide right after murdering him on the same land that the home was built on. Everything started to click. It started to dawn on me that maybe this was his safe place before he was murdered, and he just decided to stay.
This poor young child died at the hands of his own mother, And it may well be that now he sees Cliff as a father figure and that he's teasing him and playing pranks on him because he desperately wants his attention.
The dark looming figure, I like to think of it as one gentleman that maybe had passed on, that met the little boy, and he just sticks around to help him or try to get him to move on. He just stands and watches. Everybody's pretty much gotten to a sense of normality with all the weirdness that does happen. We've all come to grips with it, and we just kind of live with it now.
It's 2018, and Jenna Santos is working as a nurse in a long-term care facility.
It's a big facility that caters to 197 people. It's a beautiful place to work and to live for the residents. We cater to the elderly. We do palliative care.
Hey, Isaac. It's Jenna.
I know for a fact that dying is painful.
How are you doing today? Are you hurting?
So I kind of advocate for a comfortable passing for them, because that's our gift to them, to be pain-free.
If you need more, just press the button, okay?
It's sad, but it's fulfilling, because I'm a compassionate person, and there's no better course to put that compassion into action but nursing.
Jenna feels fulfilled by her job, but night shifts make her nervous.
It's a lovely floor during the day, but at nighttime, it turned to be a different story. So during the night, we do hourly checks to make sure that they're breathing. I felt alone and scared, like you're being watched. So one night at around 3 a.m., the call bell just rang, and then I have to look at the monitor, where did the call bell coming from? And I saw it's from a newly empty room that the resident just passed away. There's no way that someone can go to that room and press the call bell. Everyone's asleep. I had checked every resident. I couldn't explain it. I was so scared. I have to cancel the call bell because I know that if it continuously to ring, my residents would get up from their sleep. There's no one in there. I know for a fact that there would be no way that the call bell would ring by itself at all. I'm cold and clammy. I have like shivers in my spine. Ended up like unplugging it to the wall. It rang again. to muster enough strength and courage just to cancel that call bell. I really don't know how the call bell happened.
The next few shifts bring Jenna no relief.
Maintenance had been called so many times to fix the call bell. But they said it was an electrical issue.
I know. Can you just please just check it again?
It happened to me every night.
As the call bell alarms happen more often, Jenna's favorite patient is failing.
He was close to dying. His family would always come and visit him and would always tell story about how loving and how great their dad was.
The next night changes everything.
The painting that was across from the nurse's station, right at 3 o'clock in the morning, it just fell down. I was just startled. I can see a lady in a white gown, in a long flowy gown. We don't dress up residents like that. She wasn't looking at me at all. She was just standing there looking at the room. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A cold chill ran through my body. I've never been so terrified. The apparition was gone. That night, the resident just passed away.
The next day, Jenna finds the resident's daughter packing his things.
I'm going to miss him.
Yeah. Me too.
I saw a painting on the wall. That's the exact woman that I have seen wearing the same exact dress, the long flowy gown and the long sleeve. She said it was my mother. So that's his wife on the painting. I just stared in the painting for some time, that I have to really process it.
Jenna sees the apparition of this amazing woman, and often when somebody passes away, these apparitions will appear. This will happen, and it can be a really amazing and wonderful experience for people. One of the best explanations that I've heard is that they actually just go into the next room ultimately, and that's what the death experience is. So their communication with us never really ceases to exist.
I never saw the apparition again. Since that experience, nothing significant had happened to me on that unit. I really do not want to ever experience that again. because I don't want to live in fear constantly, working in a night shift. I'd rather to have like a relaxed environment that I could care more for my residents. I know I'm scared because it was a ghost, but there's like a soothing and nurturing feeling on that ghost that, like, maybe it's her way of telling the love of her life that she's there. Probably they need closure too. They haven't accepted their fate yet. I'm a nurse. I believe in science. Everything should be logical, practical, the truth. But this had happened to me, and this is my story to tell.